Hi there, David here. Just yesterday, I posted a newsletter that I've entitled Dragons and Magicians, and it's about a teleconference that I'm offering. As is often the case with me, as soon as I create a teleconference and start to write about it, a lot of other energies come into play, a lot of other things I've experienced over the years start to fall into place. One of the things that has really touched me, though, is as soon as that newsletter went out, a lot of people have contacted me to tell me about their really beautiful experiences with dragons over the years, and I have had a long association with dragons. As a child, the only book I ever remember my mother talking or reading to me was about dragons, about the Welsh dragon, I come from Wales, fighting the English dragon. And this was the only story I ever remember her reading to me. It anchored deep in my psyche. And when I moved to this place, I was rummaging around in the garden, and there was I came across a lovely little dragon statue that somebody had placed there as a guardian, and then very quickly found this one in a shop locally. Anyway, about 15 years ago, I had been spending a good chunk of time in the States. And whilst I was there, that last period that I was there, I was in Arizona, and I was spending a lot of time every day lying on these big slabs of rock by a beautiful river, hours basking there in the sunshine, and the water was very, very cold but lovely. Uh, and my connection to the earth just dropped very, very deep in that time. I was there picking up memories, I guess, of Native American lifetimes. When I returned to London, my connection was still deeply anchored, more deeply than had been my habit. And in meditation, I became aware, closer to the surface, of these lines of energy. And as I watched them, as I looked at them, I realized that these lines of energy represented the class system laid out across the landscape of the United Kingdom. And people fit into these lines of energy. Their earth connection was anchored into these lines of energy. It formatted their identity. And the rigidity of the lines represented the difficulty people in this country had moving from one class to another. They were rigid tram lines of energy. That's what they looked like. Rigid lines of energy that denoted your station in society. I was amazed at this. And as soon as you see something in mystical, energetic terms, it means that you can dismantle it. You don't have to exist with it. You can start the process of really breaking that apart if you want. So I did. That awareness has stayed present in my mind, though, knowing that there would be something significant about it. Then, about 10 years ago, living in London, I was financially challenged, and I was asking the earth what I needed to do about this. And she said, anchor yourself into the fields of gold and draw upon those. When your body is filled with gold from the inside out, you no longer lack gold from the outside in. And that was a really beautiful, simple statement. And so I did. I anchored into fields of gold and just drew upon those. Now, I've never been wealthy, but I've never really lacked for money. And that simple, energetic technique, if you like, of flooding ourselves with gold is something that I think is natural for us, but that we have been disconnected from. Now, the dragon energy that we're going to be working with on this coming teleconference is very much about this deep, deep connection into the core of the earth. Now, from my perspective, a lot of the core energy has withdrawn into the earth, so that we could have experiences of deeper density, working with less potency, so that we wouldn't create too much damage. We've reached the limit, I think, of that. So now there are much richer, more potent flows opening up from the core of the earth, and these are signified, in a sense, by these strong flows of dragon energy, which for many cultures are represented in the meridians of the earth and the earth's kundalini, our kundalini, in effect, which is traditionally depicted as a serpent coiled at the base of the spine. Well, the serpent energy is on the move, it's rising. And I think there's no mistake that dragons are often depicted hoarding piles of gold, holding on to vast amounts of treasure, because I think these beautiful, rich, golden, fiery flows of energy are very much about abundance. Just the other week, when I was asking the other about money I need to renovate this apartment that I now live in, she was just laughing and saying, anchor into or draw upon my resources. And then I started to see these flows of energy opening up. I think we are meant to be drawing upon these resources. We have been tricked into the idea of money, a symbol, a totally worthless symbol. We've been tricked into the idea that it represents or that it is wealth. And of course it isn't. But we've all bought into that system. We're about to see big shifts along these lines. 2020 is going to see a lot of change there. And it's partly to do with the fact that these deep flows of energy are opening up in the earth. We are meant to be anchored into those flows of energy. And of course, we have been trained out of them. Religions have separated us from them, made them illegal and frightening to us. But these are our core of creativity and abundance. And they're now very present again. It's interesting to me watching people talking about the Schumann resonance. And, oh, you need to take care, you need to do this, you need to do that. All you need to do is anchor into the core of the earth. Because if your anchoring is at the surface, you are probably pulling upon the impact of human history. You'll be recycling that energy through your system. And you might well be anchoring into these human grid lines laid down that hold you locked into ideas and beliefs about society, your place in society, wealth. It's all a fiction. This is the earth matrix that is now really falling apart. So if you want to stabilize your field, when the Schumann resonance is up and down and spiking and dropping, just anchor into the core of the earth. And there is stability. It's a constant, deep, resonant flow of emerging energy and perpetually emerging codes of information that are new every day. We are meant to be anchored into that. This is the territory of dragons and magicians. This is the energy that I think magicians drew upon to weave magic. It's our birthright, and we're coming home to it now. So, yeah, I hope this is useful, interesting. If you feel inspired, maybe you want to join me for the teleconference, which is happening on the 10th of November. It's going to be a perfect primer for that big gateway on the 11th of November. And if you can't make that, or if you're listening to this or watching this video after the event, then the recording holds all of the energy, and that will be available on my website. There'll be a link underneath this video for that. It's Magicians and Dragons, something along those lines. And yeah, maybe you'd like to sign up for my newsletter. The link for that is underneath too. So yeah, thanks very much for listening anyway. Take care. Bye-bye.